Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Planet for All, Start to Build Saiyan Civilization. Chapter 1 Successfully Awakened, The Genius Boy Li Shuibao. June 5, 2050. Early in the morning, all the senior 3 students of Zhongbei No. 3 Middle School walked into the school gate with excitement and nervousness. Today is Awakening Day. It is the day when all students decide their fate. Shu Lizhen, the head teacher of Class 7 of the 3rd year, stood on the podium, giving a speech before the awakening ceremony. After 2 years of study, the students have now basically understood the knowledge about the awakening of the planet and the transformation of extraordinary energy. Today the school will formally arrange an awakening ceremony for you. Each of you has the opportunity to awaken a planet of your own. If the diameter of the planet exceeds 50 kilometers, you can awaken advanced energies such as spiritual energy, magic power, and dragon energy. Lu Ruyan, a super genius girl from Weicheng next door, awakened a planet with a diameter of 58 kilometers, and transformed into a spiritual energy, and began to create a civilization of cultivating immortals. It can be said that she reached the sky in one step. And you have the same opportunity. Even if you can't reach that height, and the awakened planet is more than 40 kilometers away, you can still transform intermediate energy, battle energy, vitality, etc., and you can become a master. If the awakened planet is less than 20 kilometers away, it is impossible to convert supernatural energy, and you can only do logistics work, but it is better than those students who have not awakened the planet. Awakening failed. It means that you can only become an ordinary person and live a mediocre life. The class teacher Shu Lizhen briefly introduced the knowledge about awakening, and then started the awakening ceremony. Now I declare, the awakening ceremony begins. Students who read their names, please stand up to the speaker. Zhong San, Li Si, Wang Er. I don't know if I can also awaken the planet. Zhong Hao looked at the noisy scene in front of him with a calm face, but there was still a hint of expectation in his heart. Because he is not from this world at all. 10 years ago, he traveled to this world similar to his previous life due to an accidental car accident. After such a long time, he has already understood the world pretty much. In this world, when you are 18 years old, the school will hold an awakening ceremony. Everyone who participates in the awakening ceremony will have the opportunity to awaken a planet that belongs only to them, and at the same time convert extraordinary energy according to the size of the planet. According to the energy converted from your planet, you can build your planet into various civilizations. If you have converted your aura, you can choose to create a civilization of cultivating immortals. If the planet converts magic power, it can follow the route of magic civilization. There are also battle chi, true chi, gang chi. Therefore, as long as you successfully awaken the planet, you can widen the gap with ordinary people and reach the sky in one step. If the awakening fails, I can only live as an ordinary person all my life, a mediocre life. Just when Zhong Hao was thinking, the first batch of 9 people who participated in the awakening had all awakened. Some people are happy, some people are sad. The faces of those who failed to awaken are already full of despair at this moment. Failure means that you can only be an ordinary person for a lifetime. I succeeded the teacher, my planet is actually 47 kilometers long, ha ha ha. Awakening more than 40 kilometers, the future is bright. Student Li Shuibao, please go back to your seat first. The teacher is also very pleased that you have achieved such an achievement. In Zhong Hao's memory, this man named Li Shuibao was a school bully who relied on his family's money to bully his classmates all day long. He even made trouble for Zhong Hao when he first came to Zhongbei No. 3 Middle School. It's just that Zhong Hao suffered a loss in the end. But the relationship between the two ended here. Seeing Zhong Hao's gaze, Li Shuibao raised the corners of his mouth, and the arrogance almost overflowed from his face. After all, in his eyes, now he and ordinary people like Zhong Hao are no longer from the same world. As Li Shuibao returned to his seat, the eyes of almost all the students in the class fell on Li Shuibao. After all, he has awakened for more than 40 kilometers, and he can already be called a super genius. Since the establishment of Zhongbei No. 3 Middle School, such people are extremely rare. Brother Li, when you get rich in the future, you want to take me with you. A boy who was good at flattering his beard immediately approached Li Shuibao. That's right, Brother Bao, now you are a super genius in our school, and your future is boundless, so don't forget about him. This time it was a beautiful young girl who spoke. Originally aloof and cold, she also changed her previous appearance at this moment, and said coquettishly to Li Shuibao, looking at this, she wished she could stick it into Li Shuibao's arms immediately. But due to the occasion, he restrained himself. Me too. And I. Quote. As for the expressions of the other students, the expressions are similar. After all, even if they are successfully awakened, it is still a dream to awaken the planet to a distance of more than 40 kilometers. So it is right to have a good relationship with Li Shuibao now. Li Shuibao looked at the eager eyes of the classmates around him, and felt a little smug. Although he was a school bully in the past, the classmates still looked at him with a little disdain. Well now, I have become a super genius. The feeling of being fawned over made him feel a little smug. It's okay, one of you counts as one, and whenever you encounter anything in the future, you will report my name. As for some people, then, tisk tisk tisk. As he said that, his eyes fell on Zhong Hao again, and the meaning was already clear. Zhong Hao looked at Li Shuibao triumphantly. His face remained unchanged, and he didn't care about Li Shuibao's provocation. But when Li Shuibao saw Zhong Hao's appearance, he immediately felt as uncomfortable as if he had eaten a fly. What are you pretending to do? I'll see how you end up failing to awaken later. Li Shuibao thought. There was a sneer at the corner of his mouth, and he looked at Zhong Hao quietly. Although the head teacher was not angry when he saw a group of students surrounding Li Shuibao, but due to Li Shuibao's current status, he couldn't interfere too much. Seeing that the farce had subsided, he spoke again. Please get ready for the second batch of students. Those who read their names, please stand on the podium. Wang Wu, Zhong Hao. Zhong Hao is in the second batch of awakening list. 3 years, I finally waited for this day. Zhong Hao stood on the podium, looking at the blue crystal ball in front of him, thinking to himself. Chapter 2. Students, don't be nervous. Even if you fail to awaken, you can still shine in your job. The head teacher looked at the students on the stage looking like they were going to the execution ground, and comforted them. But he found that Zhong Hao's expression was as usual, and he nodded secretly in his heart. This kind of mind is much stronger than the students present. If the awakening is successful, his future achievements will definitely not be low. This is the original crystal specially used to awaken the planet. Just put your hand on it, and the original power inside will flow into your body. During this process, you can try to awaken the planet. If the original power is exhausted, there is still no awakening planet. Deemed as a failed awakening. Although Shu Lizhen, the class teacher, had already said it when the first batch of awakened people came to the stage, she still emphasized it to Zhong Hao and the others. After 2 years of study, Zhong Hao already understood this knowledge, so he nodded. Seeing their reactions, Shu Lizhen nodded. Now I declare, the awakening begins. Hearing Shu Lizhen's words, Zhong Hao put his hand on the blue crystal ball in front of him without hesitation. As a coolness hit, a strange energy flowed out of the crystal ball and entered Zhong Hao's body through his arms. Wait until Zhong Hao opens his eyes again. At this moment, he has come to a strange space. It was gray and chaotic all around. There are no living things in the entire space, giving people a feeling of death, and this space is full of the breath of death and destruction. Is this the awakening space? Zhong Hao thought to himself. As the time goes, in the second batch of people, 2 planets have successfully awakened. But Zhong Hao still closed his eyes tightly and did not wake up for a long time. What happened to Zhong Hao? Why hasn't he come down yet? Yeah, everyone else is over. Why is he still closing his eyes? Did the awakening fail? It shouldn't be, the awakening failure should have woken up long ago. Makes sense. Quote. Among the second batch of students, except for Zhong Hao, all of them have completed the awakening ceremony. Shu Lizhen looked at the scene in front of her. No rush, just wait quietly. And Li Shuibao looked at Zhong Hao on the stage, his face changed unsteadily. Although he knew that Zhong Hao could not surpass him, he was still worried. It's just that the arrogance on his face hasn't diminished. Wake up, he's awake. With an exclamation, everyone turned their eyes to the tall and straight figure. How is this possible? The head teacher looked at the numbers on the testing instrument with disbelief on his face. 52 kilometers. What is 52 kilometers? 52 kilometers. Isn't it already able to be called a peerless genius? It's too strong. I didn't expect that our Zhongbei number 3 middle school can produce a peerless genius with a planet diameter of more than 50 kilometers, which is not as good as Lu Rian in Weicheng. Quote. With the announcement of Zhong Hao's awakening results, the diameter of 52 kilometers immediately covered up the brilliance of Li Shuibao's 47. Li Shuibao was stunned for a while looking at the numbers displayed on the screen. 52 kilometers. How is it possible? His originally arrogant face suddenly froze. Since the establishment of Zhongbei number 3 middle school, no one has awakened a planet with a diameter of more than 50 kilometers, so just now he felt that it was impossible for Zhong Hao to surpass himself. It's just that Zhong Hao actually awakened the planet unexpectedly. Far more than himself. The classmates who were around Li Shuibao saw Zhong Hao's eye-catching 52. Unconsciously, he shifted his gaze to Zhong Hao. As for Li Shuibao's class flower who was going to pay Li Shuibao just now, the chair was also moved to Zhong Hao's side. Brother Hao, now you are the first brother of our Zhongbei number 3 middle school. Yes, you are the one who broke the school record of Zhongbei number 3 middle school. Now in Zhongbei, Brother Hao is the strongest. If Brother Hao becomes successful in the future, he can't forget us classmates. That's right, I will be the elder brother's man from now on, younger brother. Quote. Brother Hao, if you become prosperous in the future, don't forget about her. As the girl's voice sounded, the students around her subconsciously closed their mouths, surprised by Banhua's charming posture. Damn vixen, he will rely on a face. Bah, damn vixen, he only seduces men. Isn't it just good looking? What else does she have besides this? The girls in the class looked at the class flower with Zhong Hao upside down, and said sourly, but there was still a hint of envy in their eyes that couldn't be concealed. I can't wait to drag Banhua away from Zhong Hao and stick it upside down. After all, Zhong Hao's appearance is not low. Now he has awakened more than 50 kilometers of planets and has become a peerless genius. As for Li Shuibao, who was still very popular just now, there was no one around him at the moment. After all, everyone in the class knew that Zhong Hao had a feud with him, so it was good that Zhong Hao hadn't awakened. If you still go to Li Shuibao's side now, it is equivalent to offending Zhong Hao. At first, Li Shuibao was relatively calm watching his classmates circle around Zhong Hao. But when he saw Banhua sticking upside down, his eyes were so jealous that he was about to bleed. After all, he also has that kind of thought about Banhua. At first, I thought that I had won the favor of Banhua and reached the pinnacle of life. Did not expect. It can only be said that God's will is unpredictable and good fortune tricks people. Isn't it just luck? Bah. Although Li Shuibao was annoyed in his heart, he didn't dare to show it on his face, so he said secretly. Zhong Hao at this moment has just recovered from the awakening process. I found that almost all my classmates were surrounded by me, and I was a little uncomfortable for a while. After he knew the diameter of his planet, he understood the reason. We actually reached 52 kilometers, which is a little unexpected. Although he was surprised, Zhong Hao's expression was still calm. But at this moment, the startled breath of the head teacher caught everyone's attention. There is a problem with Zhong Hao's awakened planet. Generally speaking, at the beginning of the birth of a planet, although no extraordinary energy will be born, but it will give birth to life. This is also the foundation of civilization development. But Zhong Hao's planet is dead and silent, it is not an exaggeration to call it a ruin. And the gravitational force on the planet is 10 times that of an ordinary planet. 10 times the gravity. Under this kind of gravity, not to mention fragile human beings, even warriors, even orcs, would be crushed into flesh by their own weight. The planet that Zhong Hao awakened to seems to be a waste star. Although unwilling to admit it, the head teacher still expressed his views on this planet. Hearing Shu Lizen's words, the faces of all the students changed. But there was a smile on someone's face. Ha 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 ha, you're so ridiculous. It didn't transform extraordinary energy. Li Shuibao no longer suppressed his emotions, and mocked Zhong Hao who was sitting on his seat. What's the use of your planet being so big? Not even a piece of trash. As he spoke, he glanced triumphantly at Banhua who was sitting next to him. Although the size of my planet is not as big as yours, it has already bred vitality and has a rudimentary form of stellar energy. The future is limitless, but you are miserable, an ordinary person who has successfully awakened. Ha 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 ha. Originally, Li Shuibao was full of envy and hatred for Zhong Hao's achievements. Well now, the planet that Zhong Hao awakened to was actually a waste planet. After all, even Xu Lizhen, who is well informed, said that it is a planet that is impossible to achieve. Chapter 3. When the other students heard Li Shuibao's words, they immediately reacted. Standing with Zhong Hao now is the opposite of Li Shuibao. So they distanced themselves from Zhong Hao. As for Banhua, she also returned to Li Shuibao's side again at this moment, calling each other Brother Bao. Xu Lizhen looked at the scene in front of her and sighed secretly. If the planet Zhong Hao awakened to was not a waste star, the future would definitely be limitless. Pity. Although regrettable, the awakening ceremony must continue. Students, please return to your seats, the awakening ceremony is not over yet. The rest of the students returned to their seats after hearing Xu Lizhen's words, but they did not intend to waste their energy on Zhong Hao. The next awakening ceremony proceeded in an orderly manner. It's just that no one can awaken a planet more than 40 kilometers away. Xu Lizhen had expected this for a long time, so she just gave a few words of encouragement and said nothing more. Students, the awakening ceremony has officially ended. You have 3 days to transform extraordinary energy. Those who can transform extraordinary energy will undoubtedly become officially awakened. However, there are still a very small number of people who cannot transform supernatural energy because the planet is too small, and are reduced to jobs such as logistics. So students, please come on. At 8 o'clock 3 days later, the school will conduct a preliminary assessment in the first conference room to understand the development level of the world civilization you belong to. Those who pass the preliminary assessment can take the final assessment 1 month later and go to university for further study. After Xu Lizhen finished speaking, she glanced around the students in the class. But he paused on Zhong Hao's body for a while, sighed slightly in his heart, and left the classroom. Following Xu Lizhen's departure, heated discussions erupted in the classroom. Everyone returned to Li Shuibao's side again. Brother Bao is really the chosen one. From now on, we will be the future star of Zhongbei. Brother Bao will tell me to go east and never go west. In the future, he will really belong to you. Ban Hua said to Li Shuibao in a coquettish voice. Looking at the lost and regained happiness, Li Shuibao felt as if he was on a roller coaster, and this feeling was much better than at the beginning. Li Shuibao looked at him, and his eyes fell on Zhong Hao. His face was still calm, and he didn't seem to be in despair because his planet was a waste one. You really know how to pretend. Bah, let's see how you step down in 3 days. After all, in Li Shuibao's eyes, it is impossible for a waste star to pass the examination. Looking at the eager eyes of the students around him, he didn't even bother to get up and taunt Zhong Hao. After all, they are people from 2 worlds now. Zhong Hao looked at the empty surroundings, but he was very happy. As for Ban Hua, only Li Shuibao would like such a woman. Under Li Shuibao's playful eyes, Zhong Hao left the classroom. Go home. Zhong Hao lay on the bed, closed his eyes, and his consciousness sank into his own planet. Planet name: none. Planet diameter: 52 kilometers. Number of species: 0. World origin: 150. Current civilization: none. Open black lens bracket development route: unknown close black lens bracket. The awakening of the planet will gradually transform into extraordinary energy within 3 days, and the future development route of the planet's civilization will be determined according to the awakened extraordinary energy. And the genius girl they talked about was Rian Lu. It is said that the aura has been awakened and the civilization of cultivating immortals has been achieved, which can be said to have reached the sky in 1 step. But Zhong Hao's planet did not conceive life, so there is no possibility of transforming extraordinary energy. The most difficult thing is the gravity of the planet. In this world, no creature can survive under this kind of gravity, not even qualified as a logistics planet. But not in this world. It doesn't mean that Zhong Hao didn't exist in his previous life. This is also the reason why he didn't have any emotional fluctuations in his reaction to the classmates in the classroom. 10 times the gravity. A waste star. No creature can survive in this world. Zhong Hao raised his head and muttered, "That's because I don't understand Saiyan civilization. The absolute disadvantage you think is the basis for me to build Saiyan civilization. In order for the Saiyan civilization to be born, the planetary environment must be extremely harsh. Without 10 times the gravity in a barren planet, Saiyan's almost frantic desire to fight and pillage would not be stimulated at all. If there is everything on the planet, then there is no talk of looting and fighting. The extraordinary energy they have must rely on fighting to grow, and they also destroyed 2 universes by fighting to support war. It trampled countless powerful and even terrifying civilizations under its feet. In Zhong Hao's memory, Saiyan civilization. It is a race born for fighting, and the body of this race can be called terrifying. Some Saiyan can even adapt to more than 100 times the gravity, and 10 times the gravity is only equivalent to planet Vegeta. And when Saiyan is on the verge of death, he can explode with powerful combat power and transform at the same time. After transforming, Saiyan can get at least 50 times more terrifying combat power than himself. It can be said, the Saiyan race is a born fighting race. Other creatures may not be able to establish civilizations on their own planets. But Saiyan sure can. This race is so powerful that it is almost terrifying. Their energy does not come from external sources, but through their own chi to gain strength. So even if he didn't live to transform the extraordinary energy, Zhong Hao can still build a supernatural power that is better than those cultivating immortals, technology, magic. A stronger civilization. Although Zhong Hao's planet was judged to be a waste star. But the origin of the world is directly related to the size of the planet, so Zhong Hao's origin power will exceed that of Li Shuibao by nearly 50%. Although Zhong Hao's original power is more than others, Zhong Hao does not intend to abuse it. Instead, he chose the elite route. For the creation of the first Saiyan, Zhong Hao already had a rough idea. Think here. With a thought in Zhong Hao's mind, the original power began to be consumed rapidly. Under the guidance of Zhong Hao's will, a human figure slowly condensed on the open space of the planet. Soon after, the man in the clearing slowly opened his eyes. His face was resolute, his body was tall and strong, and his massive abdominal and chest muscles gave him an extreme sense of strength. Behind the man was a tail that did not belong to humans. As the man opened his eyes, Zhong Hao knew he had succeeded. Looking at the image of the man in front of him, Zhong Hao gave him a name. Amosi. Open black lens bracket ding. Congratulations to the creator for successfully creating a creature. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket name. Amosi close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket race. Saiyan close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current status. Normal close black lens bracket. Grade. Silver growable. Growth method. Fighting. Talent. War passion. Great ape. Transformation. War enthusiasm. When Amosi reaches the dying state, his combat effectiveness will be greatly improved. Close black lens bracket. Great ape. Saiyan of Great Ape gains normal x10 combat power, but loses his mind because of it. But Amosi is a high-ranking warrior with noble blood and is not affected by this time. Transformation. After transformation, Amosi has reached a Super 1 form, and his combat power has increased to normal x50. Close black lens bracket. Zhong Hao looked at the data in front of him, and a gleam of joy flashed across his face. The strong man in front of him was an indisputably powerful fighter. At the same time as Amosi was born, spawned species appeared on the planet. Name. War subordination ordinary resident. Open black lens bracket quantity. 10 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket race. Saiyan close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current status. Normal close black lens bracket. Grade. Brass can grow. Growth method. Lord's combat power improvement. Talent. War passion. Great ape. In the early days of the planet's awakening, even the powerful civilization of cultivating immortals, or the civilization of magic, the combat power they have is extremely limited. Wanting to create a silver-level combat unit is even more idiotic. But Zhong Hao did it, and he not only has 1 silver-level combat unit, but also 10 brass-level war subordinates. If other people see it, their jaws will drop in shock, because most of them will not be able to awaken even a silver-level combat unit in their entire life. Chapter 4. Although he was excited, Zhong Hao's face was still calm. Awakening to have already reached silver. It is worthy of being a fighting race. The most terrifying thing is that there are growth-type derivatives. Zhong Hao was secretly delighted. There are a total of black iron, bronze, silver, gold, platinum. This grade directly determines the combat effectiveness of the combat unit. An MOC is a silver rank at the beginning, and the combat effectiveness will reach an extremely terrifying level after transformation. But when he noticed the consumption of the original power, his expression changed slightly. A combat unit actually consumed a full 99 points of original power. Although surprised, after seeing MOC's specific data, Zhong Hao felt that it was all worth it. The original Zhong Hao still has a little worry about his future. But now the appearance of MOC has not only successfully confirmed his thoughts, but also made him clear what he wants to leave in the future. It's a completely different path from the others. Now that the creature has been created, it is necessary to establish a suitable living environment for him. The original power is limited, or create a fortress of war. With a thought in Zhong Hao's mind, the original power was consumed again. An atmosphere appeared on the slightly dilapidated planet. The ground began to cave in, the mountains began to crumble. Then matter began to recombine, and a plain appeared on the uneven planet. As time progressed, a war fortress with a radius of about 10 kilometers appeared on the plain. There were many forts on it. From a distance, it looked like a dormant beast. Gives a horrible sense of oppression. This planet does not need to develop planting and production, and the resources needed for growth rely only on one method: war plunder. After everything was over, Zhong Hao glanced at his planet's data again, and at the same time gave the planet a name. Open black lens bracket. Planet name: Vegeta close black lens bracket. Planet diameter: 52 kilometers. Number of species: 11. Open black lens bracket. World origin: 06 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Current civilization: Saiyan civilization close black lens bracket. Development route: war evolution. Battle unit: MOC Saiyan grade silver. Derivative: war dependent Saiyan grade brass. Various stats for the MOC are detailed behind the combat unit. Looking at everything in front of him, Zhong Hao breathed a sigh of relief. The data panel in front of him has one more combat unit than before. Although he knew from the very beginning that the Saiyan civilization was highly feasible. But I still have some worries in my heart, but the appearance of MOC undoubtedly proves the feasibility of this road. And people in this world may not understand, but Zhong Hao knows that Saiyan was a terrible civilization that destroyed 2 universes in its heyday. 3 days passed quickly. Zhong Hao returned to Zhongbei No. 3 middle school again, and the classmates around him saw him with complicated eyes. It would be great if the planet he awakened to wasn't a waste planet. If it's not a waste star, then it's a peerless genius who is only a line behind Lu Rian. What a pity, what a pity. Tisk tisk tisk, how can a waste star be successful, let alone create a combat unit? It can't even grow a blade of grass. I don't think he looks the same. Hey, what's the matter? Some people like to pretend in heaven. Now in his heart, he might be so flustered. After all, he was eliminated, and he didn't even have the qualifications to go to the logistics. Hey. Along the way, everyone pointed at Zhong Hao, but Zhong Hao didn't pay much attention to it, and walked into the first meeting room with a normal expression. He's here too. Who is it? Oh, it's Zhong Hao with a diameter of 52 kilometers that has been awakened. FK, 52 kilometers. Are you kidding me? You still don't know. Although he has awakened a 52-kilometer planet, it is a waste star that has no vitality and cannot transform extraordinary energy. Oh, that's all right. Quote. At the same time, Li Shuibao, who was in the auditorium, looked at Zhong Hao with a calm expression and sneered for a lifetime, and said to Banhua in his arms. Tisk tisk tisk, he really dared to come, this embarrassing thing. It's a shame to our class 7. That's right. The awakened is a useless star, and he is destined to be a useless person for the rest of his life. I don't want to be the laughingstock of others, saying that he is in the same class as us. Banhua snuggled into Li Shuibao's arms and said in a disgusted tone. Now we are all noble awakened people, and we are already in 2 worlds with him. There is no need to be as knowledgeable as him. While the two were discussing, the principal Bai Yi got up and said to everyone. Good morning, students. I am Bai Yi, the principal of Zhongbei No. 3 Middle School, and I am also the judge of this preliminary assessment. The content of the assessment consists of two parts, one is the potential of the planet, and the other is the overall combat power of the planet. 10 teachers including me will make the grades, with 60 points as the passing mark. Students who pass the mark can participate in the final assessment 1 month later and enter the university. As for the students who have not crossed the line, they will go back to the academy specializing in logistics to study. I know everyone already understands this, so I won't talk nonsense anymore. Now I announce that the assessment begins. Please stand on the stage for the students who have read their names. Zhong San, Li Si. The assessment was carried out step by step, and the students who passed the line were full of excitement. As for the students below 60 points, although their faces were ugly, they were not too disappointed. After all, being able to go to logistics, compared with ordinary people, can be regarded as a step up to the sky. Soon, Li Shuibao stood on the stage. As the most talented man in Zhongbei No. 3 Middle School, Li Shuibao naturally attracted everyone's attention when he took the stage. Mr. Shu, this Li Shuibao belongs to your class. He really teaches well. Principal Bai Yi said with a smile to Shu Lizhen who was sitting on the side. The principal's reputation is too high, and it's all due to the school. Shu Lizhen said modestly, not daring to take credit. As the two talked, Li Shuibao on the stage had already displayed various data of his planet. In just 3 days, a black iron level combat unit has been awakened, which is not bad. Although Li Shuibao is not good looking, he is still very talented. The combat unit has been awakened so quickly. Shu Lizhen was also taken aback when she heard Bai Yi's words. He looked at the complacent Li Shuibao in surprise. Li Shuibao not only transformed the mid-level energy chi, but also awakened the black iron level combat unit. In Zhongbei No. 3 Middle School, he can also be called a man of the hour. Standing on the stage, listening to the principal's praise, Li Shuibao felt that his soul was about to float out. So he turned his attention to Zhong Hao and found that Zhong Hao was looking out the window. How dare you ignore me? It's just a waste, what is it? Li Shuibao said secretly in his heart, and walked down the high platform. As Li Shuibao stepped off the high platform, the principal Bai Yi read out Zhong Hao's name. Zhong Hao got up and walked towards the high platform. Chapter 5. As a peerless genius whose awakened talent even surpasses Li Shuibao. Zhong Hao's name has long been known, including the principal of Zhongbei No. 3 Middle School. As for the other students present, they are naturally familiar with the name Zhong Hao. After Li Shuibao is actually Zhong Hao. Maybe it's for comparing the gaps. After all, one is a genius and the other is a waste. Now I'm starting to wonder if the school arranged this on purpose. It's already a waste star, why do you still have to participate in the assessment? People always have a fluke mentality, maybe it will pass. But the final result is not reduced to a laughingstock, why bother? Tisk tisk tisk. Li Shuibao stood in the auditorium and looked at the slowly walking up Zhong Hao laughed. As for Zhong Hao on the stage, he ignored the ridicule in his ears, his expression was calm, and he was not moved at all. Bai Yi looked at the boy in front of him. His temperament is on par with Li Shuibao just now. One by one. It's a pity that he is a waste star, otherwise he will definitely be a man who will call the wind and rain in the future. Bai Yi said secretly in his heart, and then opened his mouth to Zhong Hao. Are you ready? Ready. Then let's get started. Zhong Hao looked at the transparent crystal ball in front of him and put his arm on it. After a while, the specific data of Zhong Hao's planet was displayed on the screen behind him. Planet type. Exclusive planet. Planet diameter. 52 kilometers. Number of species. 11. Civilization type. Unknown. Close black lens bracket. Development route. Unknown. Close black lens bracket. Battle unit. 11. Species. Unknown. Grade. Silver. Quantity. 1. Species. Unknown. Grade. Brass. Quantity. 10. Talent. Unknown. Close black lens bracket. Ability. Unknown. Close black lens bracket. As the data of Zhong Hao's planet was displayed, the audience was silent for a full 5 seconds. Damn it. Didn't it mean that Zhong Hao's planet is a waste planet? I also heard that it's the waste star. Otherwise, the most talented person in Zhongbei No. 3 Middle School should be Zhong Hao, and it wouldn't be his turn to be Li Shuibao. What? Doesn't his planet have 10 times the gravitational force? How could any creature survive in such a neutral environment? Are you kidding me? Isn't the school's system a list of all current creatures? Why does the species type show unknown? Unknown. There will be no problems with the system. Is this species a brand new species? A new species? What do you mean? The self-conceived creatures have only this explanation, otherwise, in the known universe, no creature can adapt to 10 times the gravity. Is your focus wrong? Although the name of the species is unknown, but its grade. Silver. A silver-level combat unit. Am I dreaming? To awaken a silver-level combat unit in 3 days. Just now Li Shuibao awakened a black iron unit, and it has already been praised to the sky. The most outrageous thing is, not only does he have a silver-level combat unit, he also has 10 brass-level subordinate species, which is terrible. Seeing the data panel of the planet Zhong Hao, heated discussions broke out among the students present. They never thought that a planet that was judged to be a waste star could give birth to life. And once this life was born, it was a silver-level combat unit, and even those logistics personnel had brass-level strength. This species is nothing short of a monster. How? How is it possible? Li Shuibao suddenly stood up from his chair, looking at the dazzling 11 on Zhong Hao's planetary data. His face was full of disbelief. In everyone's perception, it is impossible for a planet without life to give birth to life. Even if it is forcibly constructed, it is impossible to survive. Moreover, the planet Zhong Hao awakened has 10 times the gravitational force of ordinary planets. 10 times. How could life be able to adapt? Because any living thing is extremely fragile in the initial stage. 10 times the gravity, it can crush all known creatures into a pulp, which is also an important basis for the Zhong Hao planet to be judged as a waste star. It was a brass-level combat unit at the beginning of its birth. Are you kidding? Silver. How can there be silver? Isn't it cabbage? Li Shuibao felt that the world was crazy. Because of silver-level combat units, even on third-level planets are extremely difficult to be born. Only by relying on the population base, there is a small probability that one will be born under extremely lucky circumstances. Zhong Hao is fine. Unexpectedly, it was a silver rank from the beginning, and it also awakened 10 brass incidentally. Thinking back to the way I danced happily after only giving birth to a black iron level combat unit. That depressed feeling gave Li Shuibao the urge to hit the wall. And because Li Shuibao was too emotional, Ban Hua, who was thrown on the ground, also had a face full of disbelief at the moment. A waste star has awakened life. What is the hint behind? Brass. What else? Silver. Is there something wrong with the school's detector? Ban Hua's shock at the moment was not less than that of Li Shuibao. After all, he was also the top student in the class before awakening. The basic knowledge of the planet is still very thorough. Principal, Shu Lizhen, who was on the judging panel, said to Bai Yi, who was stunned. Hearing Shu Lizhen's words, Bai Yi slowly came to his senses. Silver, brass, unknown species. Ordinary people may not understand, but Bai Yi does. A brand new species represents the construction of a brand new civilization. In interstellar wars, unknown civilizations have an absolute advantage over known civilizations. After all, in combat, there is no known way to deal with it, and this kind of unknown is extremely deadly in combat. And the most frightening thing is the potential of this species to develop. At the dawn of civilization, except for civilizations like magic civilization, or civilization of cultivating immortals, which attract external extraordinary energy. The physical strength of other civilizations at the beginning of their birth. It determines the upper limit of this civilization in the future. Such as knights, warriors, monsters. Looking at Zhong Hao's planet, it is a similar route. And Zhong Hao's planet was judged to be a waste star, mainly because of gravity. 10 times the gravity. Warriors, orcs, and even monsters simply cannot survive unless they possess extremely strong combat power at the beginning of their birth. But just born with brass, even super combat effectiveness. In today's known universe, it is impossible to achieve. That's why he was so shocked when he saw the Zhong Hao planetary civilization. So much so that under Shu Lizhen's repeated reminders, he slowly came back to his senses. For the uproar in the audience, Zhong Hao had expected it. So he behaved very calmly, watched the lively discussion in the audience, and quietly waited for his final result. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.